You know, in politics, they say it's all about following the money. Who has the momentum? And Nikki Haley is certainly getting it from a number of well-heeled individuals, including my next guest, Ken Langone, the Home Depot co-founder, who's joining us right now. Ken, when we first chatted about this, you said that she looks like a promising candidate. You feel that she still looks that way to you right now?
Oh, absolutely. She gets better with time. She's like a great wine.
So that
look at her numbers, how much they're improving.
They have indeed. But let me ask you something,
Yeah.
because we're seeing a sorting out among some of you rich dudes. Bruce Restetter is a major Iowa Republican donor. He is backing Donald Trump. We're seeing a parting of the ways here about who goes to, Ron DeSantis, who goes to Donald Trump, who certainly goes to Nikki Haley. A lot of momentum for Nikki Haley right now. If she doesn't deliver the goods in Iowa or doesn't, get the second place finish, there might be a lot more pressure on Governor Ron DeSantis to do well. But does that make you think twice?
Not at all. I mean, Ron DeSantis has spent a lot of time, by his own admission, in Iowa. If he doesn't come in second, I think the obvious decision there is he should drop out of the race. On the other hand, if Nikki Haley comes in third, close to DeSantis, there's every reason for her to continue to carry on, because I think she's going to win New Hampshire. Look, I'm a big fan of Ron DeSantis, too. He's done a great job in the state of Florida. My problem with Ron DeSantis, purely and simply, are his numbers. They're not moving. They haven't moved. We've got to win. Neil, we have a disgrace for a president today. We have a president who is corrupt. We have a president who is feckless. We have a president who doesn't know how to lead. Look at the situation with the Secretary of Defense. Can you believe this? Here we are, almost in a shooting war, and this guy decides to go away for 4 days and tell nobody, most importantly, his deputy. I mean, this country is rudderless right now. We've got to win this election for the benefit of America. And I think Nikki Haley will do it.
You talk about the environment right now. Do you think it was better when Donald Trump was in office? A lot of the Republicans I talk to here say, yes, it was, and that's why we're voting for him. We want those days back. We want that guy back.
Well, let's go by the facts. The economy was booming. Employment. Look, I have a lot of things I could find fault with Donald Trump, but I could also, in fairness, say he did a lot of good things. The tax bill, the border, our border today. Think of this, Neil. We've let 8 million people in. What are the odds that 50 of them are terrorists or 100 of them are terrorists? We're in peril because of what this guy did. Instead of protecting us and keeping us safe, he's done the exact opposite. No, look, I won't take a thing away from Donald Trump. He did some good things. Unfortunately, Neil, he doesn't have the demeanor or the personality to be a president.
But if he is the nominee, Ken, if he is the nominee, you would support him.
Elaine Langone for president, if he's the nominee.
So
okay?
You would write your wife's name in rather than vote for him?
I think right now that's what I do, although,
But you just said he was a good president. You just said all the good things he did. Why not vote for that?
No, I said he did some good things.
Okay.
His ability to carry off the position and the dignity of the presidency was woefully lacking. The two episodes that stick in my mind, because I knew the men well and they're fine gentlemen, Rex Tillerson and John Kelly. John Kelly made the supreme sacrifice, and it was not his life. He lost his son's life. But here he was carrying on, serving his country. Rex Tillerson starts at the lowest level in Exxon and one day rises to run it. I've seen Rex. I know Rex. He's a superb leader. He's a superb manager. The way these men were treated was disgusting. You don't do that as President of the United States. You just don't do that.
So let me get your handle on things now. Would you be at least more inclined to support a Donald Trump if Nikki Haley was his running mate?
That's a good question. I hadn't thought about it. I think I'll duck that one. Is that okay?
Really? All right, well, you're a billionaire. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what to say. But bottom line, it's Nikki Haley or bust for you right now.
You know, at a point in time when this country is being challenged in every which way, to have this collection of people, I said this at a lunch on Saturday, we have 330 million American people. I think it's a hell of a statement that we can't get better people to come forward to serve. I think that's, to me, the thing we want to ask ourselves. What is it about our system? What is it about our processes? What is it about our nation that solid, respectable people don't want to get involved? Because that's, to me, the big challenge here. How do we get better people to run for public service?
Ken Langone.
That's my lament.
No, I hear it. I hear it. Thank you. Always good seeing Ken Langone, the co-founder.
Hey, come on down to Florida. Come on down to Florida. It's 70 degrees. We miss you.
It seems a little warmer there than it does here, but we're up to 1 degree now, so Ken, I'm confident. Here comes the sun, baby. All right, good seeing you again.
You have a heat wave.
It's a definite
nice
heat wave.
Seeing you, Neil.
Same here, my friend.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.